see this part. Oh, no.
Holy, is it full?
Yep.
Oh, that sucks. I don't think we're watching it then.
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's see Angry Birds now.
Yeah, all right. Let's see it without him. Hey, he'll appreciate that, huh? Go ahead, do it. Totally.
That one is taken.
I know, right? Right in the middle. We should sit right next to. We should sit right next to the guy, like surround him.
You want to get these two?
Yeah, that's fine.
Gangs now turn their sights on her as well.
Every cop and criminal in this city is going to find out. People are going to experience police officers.
All right. So we just finished watching. I don't even know how to say the title. What is it? Where'd you go, Bernadette? That's basically what it is. I mean, it's an abbreviation of it. Little backstory of what happened. We originally wanted to watch Good Boys, which is nothing like what this movie happened. And so the movie was full. We would have had 2 seats in the corner in the front. And we didn't feel like being like this through the whole movie. So we chose not to go. You had somehow, what, you saw a trailer to it? Is that what it was? Is that what happened? Can you hold on to this?
I don't know if I technically saw a trailer, but I did see like a little blurb of it.
Well, that went too far. There you go. Anyway, I think this is sort of good. All right, so you had to say you heard about it, right?
Yeah.
It's actually the first serious movie we've seen since we started doing these kind of stupid little vlogs of movies that we watch. And to give a quick little rundown on the plot of the movie, is basically a lady that's, you know, pretty although we find out kind of a quarter through the movie that she is a former architect. We kind of know she's a little bit off. She's a little antisocial. Neurotic, I mean, and, you know, some tragedies had happened to her with her work and stuff like that, and she had a sickly child, and kind of she grew apart. But I mean, she was still a good mom, and obviously loved her family. So she was kind of going a little bit, you know, a little bit insane. She gets involved with some weird mafia, Russian mafia, some sort of personal assistance that was supposed to be doing something bad to them. And anyway, she runs away, which I guess she had done that before because she had an issue with one of her architectural things, and she ended up.
She didn't run away by herself before. That was the first time.
That was the first time she ran out by herself. I mean, this is the first serious movie that we've done. First of all, what do you think of it?
I don't know. I don't know if it should have been made into a movie.
What?
It says it was a.
It was a
It
book?
says it was a book, but I don't know. To me, I think that book. I've never read the book. I didn't even know about the book. But I would have thought the book was boring. But whatever.
You would have thought the book was boring?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought the story was kind of boring.
I
The
thought
movie was boring.
You thought the movie was boring? I thought the movie was fun. I thought there was some really funny moments in there.
There were some funny moments.
There was some serious moments in this movie where there was some real tension of her character and her basically unraveling in front of her family, in front of having whatever issues she was having. I guess we're gonna have to. How am I gonna get into this car? Hang on, I gotta go around this car because it was my suggestion to park close to a tree, which is gonna be a pain in the ass to get into. It's the first time we had the large drinks in a while. I am determined to get this thing right. It's gonna be my life work. My life work to get this thing done right. There you go. Don't fall down! Don't fall down! Anyway, so there was some, I think there was some real tension with the husband and the daughter, and to me, I thought Kate Blanchett did an amazing job in this movie. I actually, this is to me, this is one of the best movies I've seen in a very long time.
Really?
Yeah, I really like this movie.
Wow.
There were the moments of funniness and the humor in it. I think it was more from the heart of obviously she was very creative, and the creation was her passion. And I think she had lost that passion.
Yeah.
And she was literally going crazy because she wasn't able to create, which was her thing. Yet she was thrown into her family, and especially thrown into her daughter's life, probably because her daughter was sickly as a kid. She had, 3 miscarriages? You could definitely relate to something like that. It's something similar to what we went through. You feel that connection towards that child. And she definitely was going through depression.
Yeah.
She was definitely going through a depressive moment. There's a couple of things in there. I definitely recommend people to go see this movie. I think it's a great movie. I don't think the studios felt very strong that this movie can win Oscars or be nominated for Oscars because it was released in August. If this movie had been released after Thanksgiving, I think then the studio then feels that this movie could be an Oscar movie because it will be like an Oscar season to be nominated. I wish it was, and I wish that they, whatever they didn't think they liked about the movie, I hope that they do realize that it hits at least some people. It hit to them that it was actually a good movie. We were the only people in this theater, which is kind of sad. It's on a Friday night, and we're the only people in the theater. But then again, the movie is released in August. It's the middle of, what is it? Angry Birds came out this weekend. It's the middle of Angry.
Good Boys.
Yeah, it's the middle of action flick movies or comedies and stuff like that, or R-rated movies and kids movies and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely came at the wrong time. So that's what I'm saying, that I think the studios probably didn't feel confidence in this movie, not to release it in a time where it would probably the critics will be looking at. So I hope the critics and the people that are in the Comedy Awards, and the Golden Globes and stuff like that, they do look at this movie and see the beauty that is underneath it, because it is a good movie. There's a couple of things in this movie that I really like the way they did it. And I think it's the first time we're actually going to be talking about scenes and how I think the scenes came out really good. There's a moment, and it seemed like it went on for at least 10 minutes, where you had the husband. I forgot. I looked him up. He was actually in Big Fish, which I love that movie. That was a great movie, Big Fish. I don't think you remember that at all, but it had Albert Fiennes in it, and it was about the dad was like, he used to tell tales, and his son was kind of trying to, deal with him or whatever. But that was the son, was the father of the movie. I forgot what his name is. Right. Billy Crudup, I think it was. I think it was Billy Crudup. I think it's talking about a different movie. Anyway, there's a scene where the father, or the dad, and the husband is talking to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Yes. And she is talking to a former colleague of her who happens to be Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes.
The exposition of the film, the nucleus of the film, was being told by two different eyes, yes, to two different people, interchanged with each other. They kept going back and forth. I have never seen that in a movie. And that's when you started to feel for not only him, but for her. And notice that there was no kid in that one. The kid had been a center of a lot of the movie and a lot of the story, but during that time, the kid wasn't there. And that was before the intervention where everything went awry. But that particular scene and that particular time, which it seemed like it went on forever, but I didn't want it to end. Because the story of what happened to her, and it was being told, and you began to understand where both of them were coming from. And they both were coming from different parts, and they were looking at the relationship in totally different ways. But they were going towards the same goal. And that was good. Lawrence Fishburne's character basically made Kate Blanchett realize that she needed to create. The psychiatrist made the husband realize that he needed to help her. But they both went about it totally different, but they both wanted the same goal. Mm-hmm. And that was interesting. I also like the way that there's a scene in the beginning of near the beginning of the movie where you begin to find out that she was an architect. And that they had made a video of her, like she didn't even know that they had made a video of her about the house that she built that ended up being destroyed. Spoiler. And just before it got to the juicy part, you understood who she was and how loved she was and how brilliant she was. And then when it got to the part where it hurt her, she stops the video and you don't see that anymore. I thought that was really brilliant, because you wanting to know what it was there, but she didn't want to go through it again. Because that is the one thing that hurt her. That is the one thing that made her run away. That is the one thing that made her, that was the catalyst of her depression, was what happened to that house. And you got to that point, and that's when she stopped the video. Which is kind of understanding what her psyche is. I mean, this
even with her current situation with the neighbor that she has now.
Oh yeah, the Kristen Wiig, she is a treasure that needs to be savored in forever. She is incredibly good in this movie. She's incredibly good in everything that she's in. She is incredibly funny, but even in this movie, she actually played kind of a serious role, and she ended up being a friend to her when she had no friends. Yeah. There was a character arc for every single person, except for maybe the daughter. I don't think the daughter went through a character arc.
I think the daughter did.
How?
She started standing up for herself. Because in the beginning, she was just, you know, a good girl and whatever, and got good grades and whatever.
We kind of rebelled a little bit, saying I don't want to go to the school. She told Kristen Wiig's character go fuck yourself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And then even her dad, even when they went to that restaurant, and she finally told her dad off too.
True.
Kind of like, yeah, she said it how it was. So I think
they all went through a character arc. Well, I mean, I think the dad and the mom definitely, Kate Blanchett and I'm going to keep mispronouncing his name probably, Billy Crudup. They definitely went through a character arc, and it was an enjoyable, to me, it was an enjoyable experience to see them go through this character arc. And
I just had a few unrealistic moments in the movie, like them being able to get onto a raft and leave a cruise ship. That.
Hey, wait a minute. Didn't you criticize me for taking apart Stuber? Hey, where's the suspension of disbelief now?
I've been on a cruise ship, and your ass cannot leave.
I know.
A cruise
Okay,
ship.
there was a lot of there were some convenient moments of things that probably wouldn't happen.
And the fact that they seem to have like a buttload of fucking money, but yet they don't fix their house.
Well, I think she addressed that though.
Huh?
She addressed that.
Oh.
Because I think the house was in disarray, the house that they were living in, which is funny because this woman is an architect. But I think the reason that the house is in disarray is because it's almost a historical landmark. So remember, she said that there's nothing I could do that wouldn't have to go through a bunch of red tape. So I think she just gave up. I think she addressed that with Lawrence Fishburne character.
What was with the vine that was growing inside the house?
What was the meaning behind that?
Because she saw it first when she dug it up, and then the daughter even looked at it again before they left for the trip. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where
that vine was coming from now. I don't know what that part is.
It's the blackberry thing going on, but still.
I don't know what the meaning behind that is. There's probably some hidden meaning behind that. I mean, maybe somebody knows what that hidden meaning was. But I mean, all in all, I think this is one of the best movies I've seen this year. And I hope that it does get...
That's why I wanted to see if they had actually filmed in Antarctica, because the videos, sometimes it looked like they were in Antarctica, and other times it looked like they were on a movie set with Antarctica blue screen in the back.
Okay, well, they didn't do that.
Well, something seemed off.
But they did not. According to what I read, they did not.
Oh. Well,
so they were going to do that, and Kate Blanchett insisted on authenticity, so they went to Greenland.
It didn't look right. I mean, they didn't have the breath vapor or whatever in the cold.
Well, they were in the summer in Antarctica. I mean, still. I mean, just because you saw ice doesn't mean that it was freezing.
They were bundled up.
They had jackets on. Doesn't mean they were bundled up.
Were bundled up.
I don't know about that. Anyway, I think you're just going into.
But
I think you're doing what you criticize me for doing.
It looked fake when they were sitting on that rock. Dad and the daughter were having a heart-to-heart. That did not look real.
It did not look like Antarctica.
It looked like they were on a beach, maybe in San Francisco.
I don't think it's more like Greenland. I think that's one of the Greenland scenes. But anyway, so do you recommend the movie?
It's not for all.
No, it's not for everybody.
Not everybody would like it.
I definitely recommend.
There was a lot of slow parts.
But even the slow parts, it didn't seem.
No, I liked it.
There was some really genuinely funny moments in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was excellent. I really bought into it. And the funny, again, we were gonna watch Good Boys. We couldn't get in. I had no idea what this movie was about.
I had vague.
You had more than I did.
Not much more.
I had no idea what this movie was about. I figured it was a drama, but I had no idea what it was about, and I was pleasantly surprised. I went in with not knowing a single thing about the movie. And I researched a little bit when I went to the bathroom because I wanted to check out what this guy's name was. And the girl's name, which she was great though, the girl.
The daughter?
I thought the daughter was pretty good. I think it's like one of her first acting jobs there. It was pretty good. Anyway, I think people should see it. All right.
All right.
So we'll catch you guys next time, and don't forget. Good night, Bob. Wherever you are.
With the stars.
Oh yeah. I give it 5.
Wow. I'll give it 3. Simply because there was some unbelievable moments. Like I said,
You're just stubering this one.
you're just getting off the cruise ship. Both of them. I mean, she got off the cruise ship, and then her kid
she
and
got off
son, I mean, her kid and husband got off the cruise ship at a different cruise ship.
Yeah. I got it. I give it 5. She gives it 3. This is being overcritical, which she always criticized me for doing that. And I think you should have suspended the disbelief in this one.
Okay.
But anyway, good night, Bob. Where we are.